What is up, everybody? What's happening? Welcome back to Emphasis on Sports. I'm your host, Damon Anthony. And as usual, we're going to kick what we kick. We're going to talk about sports. That's what we emphasize. Get it? You dig it? All right, let's get it going. Big time sports world. A lot of stuff going on in the sports world, and I love it. First of all, biggest thing going on. We can cut out all the rest of sports. We can do all of that. It's the playoffs. Playoffs are huge. And I don't care what sport. Right now, we got two sports in the playoffs. So that's where we're going first. Biggest, baddest on the block, Major League Baseball. Now, me personally, I used to watch Major League Baseball all the time. I do have a very huge affinity, got a lot of love for the Boston Red Sox. And I'm going to tell you in '07, in '07, I believe I watched 160 out of the 162 regular season games at the house. Had the MLB pass. Loved it. But over time, moving, different things, haven't really been that big on baseball. Excuse me, y'all. Still getting over a little bit of a cold, but haven't really been that big in baseball. Now, it also had to depend on where I live. I lived in Miami for some years. No one cares about baseball. And Marlins aren't very good. No one really cares about them. So then, you get into everything else. And Miami's Miami, right? Miami's actually where I met my future wife. But, Miami's a different thing. So kind of stopped watching baseball as much. COVID happened. Didn't really like watching the game that way. No fans. Wasn't really interested. So now I'm really into it when it's crunch time and we get into the playoffs. Once we get into the playoffs, that's where it's at. And right now, these playoffs are going off. Let me tell you something. All right, so in the American League, right now, the Guardians, Tigers tied 1-1. And look, I live in Cleveland. Everybody here, including myself, wants to see the Guardians do well. I predicted the Guardians are going to go to the World Series. Detroit could be a team on a mission. They could be a team on a mission. I still like the Guardians in this one. Games have been, to be honest with you, first game, blowout city. Game two, that thing was 0-0, top of the ninth, 3-1 homer by the Tigers. And just watching that game, I didn't understand why when you got runners at the corners and it really looks like your pitcher is kind of laboring, get him out. Get him out. Get him out. This ain't about pride. This ain't about merit badges. Get him out. Move on. Get somebody else in there. Because all you got to do is get somebody out. And you're ready to rock. You back 0-0 and you're good. That didn't happen. So that one's tied up. Game 3 on that one's going to be tomorrow. And I can't wait for it. Really can't wait for it. If there is a game 5, hopefully there's not. Hopefully for the city of Cleveland, there's no game 5. But if there is a game 5, I'm trying to go to that one. Not going to lie to you. The other series in the American League, Royals-Yankees. That one's also 1-1. Royals did their thing last night. Came up 4-2, tied that thing up. It was real cool seeing George Brett in the stands too, with his old self. We wanted to ask him about that pine tar. But that series is going to be a real good one. As good as the Yankees can be and as good as their bats can be, Kansas City's a team on the grind too. I look at them and I see a lot of Detroit. Just let's grind it out. You know what I mean? You got Salvador Perez back there. He's been good for a minute. After Yadier Molina left, he may be the top catcher in the league. Y'all definitely let me know. I know I'm probably missing a couple people, but homie's good. You can't fight that, right? So in the National League, both of those series also tied 1-1. Right? At least coming into today. There is a final. I'll update that. But currently, Dodgers-Padres are playing. That one's 1-1. That one seems to be a little gritty, scrappy little series. Now, I predicted the Dodgers to represent the National League in the World Series. Maybe right, maybe wrong. The Dodgers are one of those teams that look like they're built for it. They got all the players on paper, the whole 9 yards. But the Padres have a squad. There's no doubt about it. There's no two ways about it. Especially with the bats that they have out there. When you're throwing Tatis, Bogarts, and Manny Machado out there. Now there's some shaky things going on in that series. Machado heaving the ball into the dugout, to the Dodgers dugout, Profar out in left field. Now listen, I was watching that game because on Sunday, we had that delay for the Sunday night football game. I had that game on a big TV, got the sound on it. That homer that Profor robbed for Mookie Betts and how he played that thing off. For a sports fan that loves some good shit talk, that was fantastic. Now, the fans throwing stuff, all that later, that's unnecessary. It's not needed. Those are things that, fans seem to think more and more that they're actually a part of the game. And especially when you're sitting close enough that a player can actually jump up and touch you or have their glove in between your hands and all of that. And they think that they're really part of the game. Hey, look, fans, we're not part of the game. We're not the player. We enjoy the game for the players. We root for the players. We can hate on the players. We can boo the players, but we're not part of the game. So anything like that, like you got to understand, me sitting on my couch probably felt like a lot of people watching that game. I'm like, man, come on, what are y'all doing? What are y'all? Let's get some baseball going. What's happening here? You know what I mean? So that series is gonna be a doozy. Currently, right now, the Padres are up 6-1. Padres, if they can win this one, that means the next one's still at home in San Diego. And you never know what's going to happen. Now, the other series in the National League, Mets, Phillies, coming into the day, 1-1. And I'm going to tell you what, game 2, fantastic. I actually had that up split screen with football, and that was a just great baseball game. For anybody that's not a true huge baseball fan or that just likes the competition, and there's a lot of people like maybe how I grew up and how I used to be, that I like the offense, I like the action. I really didn't understand the pitching, so a 1-0 game did nothing for me. Now I love a 1-0 game. Absolutely love it, right? But when I get to see a little bit of a slugfest, some shit talk, are we going to go back and forth? Crowd's going to be hyped? That's what happened Sunday. That is what happened Sunday when the Phillies did their thing. Now, today, the Mets won 7-2. So the Mets are up 2-1, and they're at home for their next game. We know that they have a great fan base. We know that the Mets and the Phillies, they don't play but so far from each other. So you're going to have traveling fans. It's going to be a raucous arena, raucous crowd. I have to watch that game too. I know that's going to be great. Bryce Harper and them boys in Philly, I know they're not just going to roll over and die. That's going to be a fantastic series to watch close out. Also, keep in mind, for all of these series involved, this round's best of 5. So these teams that are up 2-1, just take me home, win one more, and you're there. Will we see the Dodgers go down? Will we see the Mets move forward? San Diego and the Mets, it would be crazy to see, but that's a possibility. That's a huge possibility. On the other side, those are both 1-1. So right now we're best of 3. Whoever takes the next 2 out of 3 in those moves on. Let's see what happens. This is what I love about the playoffs. Absolutely love it, right? So we do have one more league that's currently in their playoffs right now, the WNBA. So I had predicted that the Las Vegas Aces, that they're on the heels of winning the championship last year, they were gonna take it home again. That didn't happen. It didn't happen. On Sunday, the New York Liberty sent them home. Absolutely sent them home. And hey, look, hats off to the Aces. Good season. Y'all did your thing. Asia Wilson, the MVP. But Stewie and Ionescu, they had something to say. They had something to say. Let's not forget, I don't want anyone to think that the Aces and Asia Wilson was it, outside of course, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all that. Now, this New York Liberty team, they're good, and they're going to continue to be good. I now believe that they're going to take it all home and they're going to win the championship. But, of course, the Minnesota Lynx is going to have something to say about that, because right now they're holding their thing down. They're absolutely holding that thing down. They're playing the Connecticut Sun. That one's tied 2-2. So today is a winner take all on that. Let's see what happens. I like Minnesota. I think Minnesota's going to win. I think we're going to have a Minnesota, New York WNBA final, and I'm going to take New York, even though Minnesota's been balling. And once again, like great fandom. When you walk into these arenas, especially, I would have to think for the athletes, and there's actually noise. It's actually loud, and there's cheering for you and against you. It helps. A lot of the best athletes ever were driven by some of that noise, whether cheering for me or Reggie Miller, Spike Lee. Spike sitting in the front row, you talking trash? Okay, I got you. Let me dump on you real quick. So I know for these teams in WNBA, that kind of noise is great. I love seeing what this league has become. Of course. Let's keep it 100. Caitlin Clark brought a ton of eyes, and a ton of exposure to the WNBA. Welcome to watching the WNBA. For those of you that are started watching because of Caitlin, welcome. Come on in. The water's warm. It's a great sport. It's a great watch. I said before, I've been watching the WNBA since it first came around. You know, I've seen all these players come and go. I've seen the great ones. Not everybody has seen that. Not everybody knew that this New York Liberty team was great. Not everyone knows who Teresa Witherspoon is. New York Liberty. Understand me. I watched this. I like this. You dig what I'm saying? So this is great to see more exposure on that sport to help continue to build that sport. But here, our emphasis on sports, I'm gonna call it like it is. I like New York Liberty to win it all. That's my prediction there. I'll follow up because as usual, if and when I'm wrong sometimes, I'm gonna tell you I'm wrong. Other things going on in sports. Hey, look, today, this is becoming my favorite time of the year. I've talked about this before. So tonight, opening night, NHL hockey. Gotta love it. Hockey, I think now that it's been on ESPN, I remember when it was on like OLN and all that. You weren't really watching that too much. You weren't searching for that. But now you're going to throw me on ESPN. You're going to throw me on TNT. Give the game a little more exposure. Have some of the great ones, including the great one, commentating and talking about these games. It brings not only more eyes to it, but it's easier to find. It's a lot more crisp. I love it. Right. So this is opening day of the NHL. Now I'm telling you, I love this time of the year. One of my favorite times of the year because you know what else happens in 15 days? The NBA kicks off. So at some point in October, I'm probably going to go crazy watching sports. That's just more than likely what's going to happen because I'm going to have the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, college football, Major League Baseball playoffs, and WNBA. I hope you overlap. I hope it stretches out a little bit and we can overlap into the NBA's like opening night, opening 2 nights because it's going to be pandemonium because I will have WNBA up also. I love this. This is my jam. This is why I talk sports because this is what I'm going to watch. So look, stay tuned for the rest of October because it's going to go down, right? All right, look, let's talk NFL week 5. I was wrong about a lot of stuff. I'm going to say that first and foremost. I was right about some things, but I was wrong about a lot of things, right? So, first and foremost, Jets Vikings. That's what started off Sunday. Jets and Vikings from London. Man, look, the Vikings continue to look like a good team. I'm not going to say great. I'm not going to say dominant, but a good team. Their offense looks pretty good. Now, their offense went out to a nice lead on Sunday, and the Jets were able to battle their way back. And to be honest, I mean, Aaron Rodgers out there throwing 3 picks did not help the Jets at all. But the Jets did try and get back into that game, had the chance at the end, didn't happen. Hey, look, Vikings, they're a good team. They're doing their thing. The Jets look real shaky. That's what it is. They look so shaky that earlier today, Coach Robert Saleh got fired. Now, of course, you see this behind me. Twitter's going crazy. Coach Robert, come home. Coach Robert, come home. It's not happening. It's not happening. We're not going to get rid of our defensive coordinator 5 weeks in to go bring in Robert Saleh, who obviously he's going to want some time with his family, want some time to kind of hang out. From what I understand, and I very well may be inaccurate here, but for the rest of the season, dude's pretty much going to make 20 grand a day sitting on his ass because of that contract that he had. Kind of no reason for him to stop life. Might have kids in school. I know he does have a school age kid. You don't want to uproot the kid in the middle of the year or this, just early in the year. For what? For what? Homie, kick back. You got your crib. You about to have winter. Go hang out. Do your thing. But yeah, they did fire coach today. And the crazy part about this particular firing was they escorted him out the building and didn't let him say goodbye to the team, to any of the players. That's weird to me. That's real weird to me because that doesn't happen too often. I don't remember it happening anytime recently in 10, 15 years. I just haven't remembered that. So maybe there was something a little personal there. There's a lot of people, of course, saying that Aaron Rodgers is pulling the strings and he's calling the shots behind closed doors. Maybe, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not the type of person that wants to play that card. But I don't know if this was the right time to fire the coach. I did see Woody Johnson's quote. He talked about how great the team is and how well it's constructed and all of that good stuff. Bruh, you hired the coach. Like, listen, so now all of a sudden the coach sucks. I mean, the offense does not look good. And Coach Saleh wasn't an offensive coach. Understand that. How about Hackett? I did see a report, and who knows if this is true, that Hackett was set to get fired by the coach. Get the coach up out of there. Hackett is Aaron's boy. We don't know. But now the Jets, a lot of questions there. And I actually have a lot of faith in the Jets. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to see, right? 1 o'clock games. Panthers went to the Bears. Panthers, for a quick second with Andy Dalton, they looked like they were looking a little better. Hey, look, the Bears look good. No two ways about it. Now, of course, they're playing the Panthers, and the Panthers aren't good at all. But that's a good game for the Bears to have at home. And I believe the Bears have the current longest home winning streak of anybody in the league. Hey, look, they looked all right. Caleb looked all right. Swift is looking like the guy that the Bears wanted. Now, of course, he gets vultured a little bit by Roshan, but hey, Swifty is looking all right. And I'm not talking about that Swifty. For those of y'all that don't understand football, like they actually don't watch. But Bears looked all right. Bears knocked them off 36-10, routed. Hey, look, Bears, I have some expectations for the Bears. I did predict that the Bears were going to go to the playoffs. It's early. It's super, super early in the season. So, one never knows, but they are trending in the right direction. And after 5 weeks, you want to be trending right. So let's see what the Bears have to offer. One of the games of the day, probably the game of the day, especially the back and forth, how it ended, some of the fantastic plays. The Baltimore Ravens went into Cincinnati and won 41-38. Now, I did like Baltimore to win that game. I liked it, called that. Did not know it was going to happen like this. I was real questionable about Joe Burrow and the Bengals going into this game because they really just haven't looked that great. It looks like Burrow plays up to his competition, but do that every week, sir. Do that every week. Because then you're playing down to your competition too, and then it looks real iffy. But hey, look, it's not about the Bengals. Look, not about the Bengals. They did their thing. Did you see Lamar Jackson? Monster. I'm not going to sit here and try and break down the play. We've all seen it. But homie's out there doing stuff that when somebody does that on Madden, what's the first thing you say? Man, you cheat. And he's out there doing this in real life. I mean, he's everything that you would want from a quarterback. A lot of people will say, yeah, well, he hasn't got it done in the playoffs. Cool. He's not the only person out there. But what he did on Sunday, that last play, get off me, slide, get off me, throw it back like I'm throwing it out of bounds. Isaiah Likely, touchdown, let's keep it moving. Ridiculous. And then you add Derrick Henry there, who, by all accounts, looks like he's like the healthiest he's been. Because you give him a little bit of daylight, and he's either taking it to the house or he's taking it damn near to set up a field goal to win it all. But that was one hell of a game. Ravens look like they're trending in the right direction. The Bengals do not. They do not. The Bengals, they're going to need to run off some victories to kind of catch back up with the rest of their division, because both the Ravens and the Steelers, I mean, they're sitting there winning records. So you got to figure something out there. Dolphins Patriots. This was my no one cares game of the week, and it was boring, and no one really cared. No one really cared. Dolphins won 15-10. The end. Definitely wasn't an interesting game at all. Browns at the Commanders. Hey, listen. So here in Cleveland, in Northeast Ohio, I had said the other day, man, the way the Washington's playing, they gonna smack y'all around Cleveland. They did. They did. 34-13. And to be honest, it wasn't really that close. It really wasn't that close. The Browns look like a dumpster fire. There's no other way to put it. I don't know what's going on in that organization. Obviously, I'm just a dude sitting in a room in my crib in Westlake, Ohio, but it smells fishy. I don't know if Kevin Stefanski actually can call the shots there. I don't know if Andrew Berry, I don't know if he's making it make sense. I believe at this point with Deshaun, I don't know if he could stay on this team. I don't. Um, Talking about the Browns the last couple days, I've come to surmise something. I believe that Deshaun's a quarterback, so he can go out there and play quarterback, and in his mind, he'll be just fine. But I don't think he likes to play quarterback. I don't think he likes the game anymore. I don't think he's enjoying playing anymore. And I say this because of body language I see, not stats. I'm not talking about stats. Stats come and go. But the body language is horrible. It's horrible. Just I sit there and I'm looking. I'm like, man, does he even care? Does this matter to him? I don't know. I don't know. But I think the Browns, they need to cut bait, move on, because you can't bring in anybody, because there is an elephant in the room. You can't. They right now they're looking like they can go get a good draft pick. Can't bring in a quarterback right now. You can't go pick up nobody right now. This is kind of why they couldn't re-sign Flacco. They need to do something, because they are not looking like a solid organization at all. Other side of the ball, though, hey, Washington Commanders, they're coming. They're coming. Jaden Daniels, he's solid. They built a little something there. If they hold onto the ball a little more, they might be a good team. I believe at that, as we sit here and talk, the NFC East may be a little more open than we think. Philly hasn't looked dominant. Dallas hasn't looked dominant. We'll see what Washington can do, because they're gonna. I mean, you got to play the Cowboys twice. Got to go and play the Eagles. Let's see what they're gonna do. I'm real interested in seeing what happens with this team. This is giving me RG3 rookie year vibes all over again, and I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. So let's just see what happens with these Commanders. Next game up was Jags and Colts. So the Jags got their first win of the season, 37-34 over the Colts. Jags, they still don't look like a great team. They look like they were fighting for their lives. They went ahead and they took it down. I will absolutely give them that. But I'd be lying if I sat here and said, like, they look good. They didn't. They look like a team. The Colts, they look like a team also. I mean, when your score is 37-34, there wasn't a ton of defense being played. Of course, there were mistakes and errors, both sides. This is a game that, to me, I mean, it was a good kind of electric game to watch, but it's, two mediocre teams, I would say. So we'll see what happens as these teams go. Another 1:00 game. This was a huge one, too. This was a huge one. Texans Bills in Houston. This is our chance to see, CJ Stroud, Josh Allen, what them boys gonna do. It's the Stephon Diggs revenge game. What's gonna happen there? Well, the Texans took them down 23-20. And to be honest, it looked like they were going to run away with it early. Bills fought their way back into it, had a pretty good game. Keon Coleman, who was looking like he's just like Josh Allen didn't like him, wasn't going to throw to him at all. He did, take down a touchdown. This was a real fun game to watch. But on the Houston side, what they're showing me with CJ Stroud is just how to win. How to win. There's going to be games you're going to go out there and you're going to blow the socks off of people because you have a great offense and you're surrounded by a lot of these offensive studs. But what happens when the other team steps it up and now here they come? And this is what happened. This was a game that a lot of quarterbacks might have wilted because here comes Josh Allen and the Bills. Houston held it together, held them off, took down the dub. Congrats. Houston's going to be a team. They're going to be a wagon. I'm telling you that now. Let's move on to 4 o'clock. Raiders Broncos. Broncos at home beat the Raiders 34-18. This was a game, to me, this was my nobody cares of the week junior game because nobody talked about either one of these teams with the score, with this game, nothing like that. I'll tell you, Bo Nix, he looks all right. I like to see him kind of grind it up a little bit with Sean Payton because sometimes you just have to. You can't wilt like that. I mean, we know Bo Nix is like 38, so it's not like he's a 21-year-old kid fresh out of college. And to all my people, I know he's not 38. He was just in college for a very long time. That's all. I know it, right? He's not even as old as Brandon Wheaton. I get it, right? But hey, look, Broncos did their thing. I'm not going to give them a ton of credit for it because the Raiders don't look good. They just don't look like they're a good team at all. I know Devontae wants out of there, but all in all, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Raiders look like a scary team or anything like that. So congrats to the Broncos. Let's continue to build. Knocked off the Jets, knocked off the Raiders. Let's see what happens next. Right? Packers Rams. Packers take them down 24-19. The Rams also they just don't look like a good team. I know they have a lot of injuries there. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Packers look great in this one either. This is Jordan Love's second game back. He looked all right. They look like a solid team, but it's also like you beat a team that's not that good. I mean, the Rams are 1-4. So I'm not going to sit here and say that this game meant too much for me, opinion-wise. It's going to make me lean one way or the other with the Packers. I still don't think that they're going to win their division. I didn't think that coming in. I felt like the NFC North belonged to the Lions until someone snatches it from them. That being said, the Vikings, they're in the NFC North, and they're good. They're good. The Bears, they're in the NFC North. It's not that they're good, but they ain't bad, and they got a lot to build on. So we'll see what happens with the Packers. Other side of the ball, the Rams, got to get it together. That's all there is to it. You got to get guys healthy, and then just we'll see. The Giants at the Seahawks. Now this one, Seahawks are at home. Giants aren't that good. Seahawks should win this one. Bah. Hey man, look, the Giants went in there without Malik Neighbors, without their top RB, and still putting something tough on them. 29-20. Wasn't something I expected. But one thing it tells me is that Seattle isn't that good. They're good. And, you look at the schedule, they beat some bad teams. Well, I didn't see this coming. I gave maybe too much credit to the Seahawks. We'll see what happens going forward. Now, I don't think that this is going to propel the Giants into making them a good team or anything like that. The season's going to be what the season is. They're going to have probably a top 10 draft pick. And, maybe they'll get a little better next year. Still got to figure this Daniel Jones thing out. I do not think that he's I don't think he's a really good NFL quarterback. Maybe just good. Maybe just but not really good. Now listen to what I said. I didn't even say great, really good. I think he's That's it. But ain't gonna get you too far. Definitely not in New York. Definitely not in New York. Last 4 o'clock game I'm going to talk about 49ers at home to the Cardinals. This one, I just knew. No way the Niners loses. Cardinals aren't that good. Well, guess what? 49ers lost. And I'm going to say it just like this. At this point, as we sit here, I think the 49ers are the worst good team in the league. The reason I say that, because they're built to be a good team. They were just in the Super Bowl. They've been all up and down the playoffs the last couple of years. But right now, it's not all click. We could sit and point fingers at a lot of things. We know Jake Moody got hurt. But a couple things I'll point out. Man, look, you're up 10 points in the fourth quarter. Hand the damn ball off. And then hand it off again. And then let Purdy throw on third down. You might even hand it off again because you might be at 3rd and 1. Kyle Shanahan needs to stop being cute and just win the games. Listen, if you win the Super Bowl by 1 point, you won the Super Bowl. If he goes out the other day and just wins by a point, you win. We want to sit here and blame the defensive coordinator and all of those things. Hey, look, Shanny, you've been around this team and this league for a little bit. You got to know better. One thing that the 49ers could not do was stop Arizona in the fourth quarter. 4th and 5. You give up a little pop pass. James Conner feasted on the 49ers in the fourth quarter. You got to do better than this. Arizona went out there, and you know what they didn't do? They didn't fold. They got smacked in the mouth, and they came back and fought back. Kudos to Arizona. 49ers just don't look like a very good team. They look like a team that has the talent on paper, but they're not getting it done on the field. All there is to it. All there is to it. There's other teams in the NFL like that, but that's all there is to it. This ain't an on-paper league. You got to do it on the field. And that's what the 49ers are failing to do right now. Cardinals, hey, hats off to you. Now, one good thing for the Niners is that Seattle just lost. This Thursday, Seattle, San Francisco, the winner is going to be leading the NFC West. So this is how you get it going. For all 49er fans out there, hey, look, don't go too crazy. Don't jump off the deep end. We haven't started every season that we went far into the playoffs that great. Sometimes you got to figure it out and get it all back. We're real quick to say Christian McCaffrey. Kyle Shanahan hasn't always coached with Christian McCaffrey. When the 49ers went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G, CMC wasn't there. Figure it out, Kyle. Figure it out. All right? Sunday night game. Now this one, look, I spent all day watching football on Sunday. Couldn't watch this game. Couldn't. Not because I didn't want to. They had the rain delay because of the storm. Pushed it back to a 10-10 kickoff. Sorry, Jack. I got to be at work early. So just not happening. I did get a chance to watch the baseball game. So at least I had something. But didn't get a chance really to sit back and watch this one. I know at the very end of the game, Dak did his thing. Dak, hey, look, I'm one of the people that will talk a lot of shit about the Cowboys and Dak often, but in this one, crunch time, he got it going. He scored the final touchdown. Let's go ahead. Let's get out of here with this W. Hats off to the Cowboys. Still don't think they're worth a damn, but hey, you win, you win. Pittsburgh. I believe Pittsburgh's still figuring themselves out. People want to point at Mike Tomlin, but remember, he just brought in a new OC, Arthur Smith, who this is his first year in Pittsburgh, with 2 new quarterbacks in Pittsburgh, one of whom is still young and is still learning the NFL, in Justin Fields. Russell Wilson, who probably could pick up a lot more of it and maybe do some different things. I'm not going to say better, not going to say worse, but just do some different things, has been injured. So this is a team still finding themselves also. We'll see what happens with Pittsburgh going. Now with Dallas, you just got to show me. All of this, I don't care what happens during the regular season. Dallas and San Francisco are going to play in a couple weeks. You could beat San Francisco by 50. Don't care. What are you going to do in the playoffs? That's where it counts. That's where it counts. It's actually why I'm not so stressed out about the 49ers right now. Right the ship, get in the playoffs, we'll be fine. On the Cowboys side, and on a lot of NFL team side, if I'm going to be honest, they can get to the playoffs. Then what you going to do? What have you shown anybody? Can you at least get to the championship? Can you get to the Super Bowl? Let's see it. Let's see it. Monday night football game, last game of week 5. You had the Saints at the Chiefs. Chiefs took that one down 26-13. I did watch that game. We saw finally like the return of Travis Kelce. And I say that from a just pure get Travis the ball. Just get him the ball. And he's going to get us a little, matriculate the ball down the field, right? If you know where that comes from. But that's what they were doing. When Patrick Mahomes needed him, boom, here's Kelce. Of course, got one to Xavier Worthy. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they have some players. They got NFL players. They're all right. Now, on the other side of the ball, the Saints, shaky. Remember, the first 2 games of the year, they put up 40. Boom, looking great. Now, not so much. Defense, they're all right. Dennis Allen is defensive coach, so one would think that their defense would be just stellar because he's shown great defense since he's been in New Orleans. Let's not get that twisted. But when we get to the point where the defense is average, maybe a slight bit above average, that's when you need that offense to click in too. And just not seeing it. I got Derek Carr barking at the bench after throwing the touchdown. Something is going on there I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe time for a change somewhere on that team. But the Saints need some help. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, they're just chiefing along. They're chiefing along. Had a talk with some friends the other night that, as a lot of people, don't like the Chiefs. And I get it. A lot of people hate the Chiefs. Some of it the same reason a lot of people hated the Patriots. About their winning. They do win. A lot of people hate and want to say, they get all the calls or the referee, they have the refs in their pockets. Maybe a little bit. But go look at the history of team sports, namely the NFL and the NBA. The best teams get the calls. It's what it is. It's not because it doesn't make them the best team. But the best team gets the calls. I remember watching the 98, the Bulls in the 90s. Jordan used to under his jersey talk to the refs. I'll tell you something that I remember wholeheartedly because it was the catch 2. Was it catch 2? Green Bay at San Francisco, I want to say in 97. T.O. caught that touchdown. He had 3 or 4 drops throughout the game, and he caught a game-winning touchdown into the game and just cried. Well, the way that he got to that touchdown, Jerry Rice made up a phantom call. He caught the ball, kind of dropped the ball, and got hit. Should have been incomplete anyway, but he got up, walked over, said something to the ref. The ref threw his flag, and they called pass interference on Green Bay, moving down the field. The great teams get the calls, but it's not like these teams can't be beat. As I was explaining to some friends of mine the other night, this is coming from a guy whose team lost to the Chiefs twice recently in the Super Bowl. But both of those times, I could sit back and I can look and I can say, you know what? 49ers still should have won the game. You're up. 4th quarter. And Shanny decided to get cute. In the first Super Bowl. 4th quarter. Remember, this is when the Debo sweep happened. That Super Bowl. Man, look. 6 yards of rip. All game. 6 yards of rip. 4th quarter, didn't run the man not one time. And you're up. Because you wanted to get cute and say, look what I can do with Jimmy Garoppolo. And you let the Chiefs win the game. So as much as, yes, Nick Bosa was held a lot, if we're doing what we're supposed to do from a coaching standpoint on offense, got another Lombardi. Last year, same damn thing. You got a stable of running backs. 4th quarter, run the ball down their throat. There happens to be a tackle on the left side. That's an absolute monster. I think his name's Trent Williams. Run behind Big Trent. Ice the game. Put it away. You want to be cute. And that's how you lose the game. Can't blame the refs. The best teams get the calls. That is how that works. It's how it's always worked. It's how it's always worked. It's how it's always going to work. So I'm not going to hate the Chiefs because of that, because they could be beat. They haven't won every single year they were in. We'll see what happens. Got to take them down. Got to take them down. But the Chiefs, they continue to be the team to beat in the NFL. And they're going to be that until someone dethrones them. Simple as that. All right. So look, I am about to get out of here, right? But I'm gonna be back, and I'm gonna be back again. I did speak earlier, a few episodes ago. I'm gonna do one episode just about rivalries because I love a good rivalry. College football, college basketball, Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, NHL. NHL got some cool shit. NHL. May even talk some tennis, some golf rivalries. I love a good rivalry. So we are going to talk about that this week. We are also later on in the week, we're gonna do some picks for week 6. Hopefully I'm getting better because I've been some shit lately. I'm gonna tell you that. Also, we got to catch up with baseball playoffs, WNBA playoffs. What's going to happen? Baseball playoffs. Look, we're staring down maybe some upsets here. WNBA playoffs. We're one game away from knowing what the finals matchup is going to be. Check that out. NHL has started. The NBA is coming. Let's go. Also, when the NBA comes, we're going to have a GOAT chat. We are going to have a GOAT talk. There's going to be some people that's going to like it, some people that's not, and I'm here for it. All right. So until then, y'all have a good rest of your day, rest of your night. Be good or be good at it. Until next time, I will holler.